all the early civilizations at one point or another thought they were the only civilization before they made contact with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. China was the one that went on thinking that for a very long time.
They met Rome, which is really interesting.
No, it was the Persians they first met, actually.
Yeah.
Wait, no, it wasn't. It was the Greco-Bactrian Kingdom. One of the Greek, the Greek Alexander derivative states. You know, like when Alexander conquered a bunch of territory, there were a bunch of frontier states that spawned.
Was that the camera?
Yeah.
It's fine, as long as your phone's going correct.
There were a bunch of frontier states that spawned.
Your phone's going correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
That spawned along the borders of the former Persian Empire.
Mm.
And one of the furthest ones was the Greco-Bactrian Kingdom.
Alright, and these are like Greeks, or what?
Yeah, Greeks, because there wasn't a lot of people who occupied this area before.
What modern-day country did they?
Like, where were they? You can look at that globe over there. They would be in modern-day, north of Persia.
Alright, so here's the Chinese.
Yeah, modern-day Uzbekistan.
Was China still basically just China?
Smaller.
Okay. Uzbekistan, huh?
Uzbekistan. It's right. It's north of Iran.
Alright, say Iran.
Yeah, I said Persia the first time. Whoops.
They're in Atlantis. Fuck you. Don't find them. They're not on the globe.
You gotta go in the globe.
You gotta carve open the globe. Alright, so let's see. Where's the Greeks? The Daegos. They were actually in Greece, correct? Greece is still Greece?
Greece is still Greece.
That's really bizarre, actually. Where's that? By Italy?
Yeah.
Yep, there it is. Alright, so... Fuck, dude. How far did Alexander take over?
To India, man.
Holy shit.
Yeah, he went everywhere, man.
That's insane.
He
Holy shit. That dude is crazy. What the
what you gotta remember is most of that territory was inside of the Persian Empire originally, so they just basically conquered all the Persian administrative structures, but it was still ludicrously far.
That's insane.
That was the world's greatest winning streak.
Yeah, but he was just shooting threes over and over.
Yeah, he was. That's literally the definition
how
of just...
delusional do you have to be?
I don't even understand. There's some weird things like that. There's sometimes where just I don't know how he fucking did this.
Yeah,
I don't know. He just kept fucking... Yeah, like
Russia
Genghis Khan, right? Where they just keep fucking going.
You know, those are empty lands. Fucking...
China isn't. You know?
And Genghis Khan, he was Mongol, correct?
Yeah, because, he started off in the steppe plains, and that was kind of empty.
Between Russia and China?
Yeah. But then he conquered China, so, you know...
And China was powerful, or they was powerful?
China was powerful. The fact that the Mongols conquered China...
This globe is dope.
Yeah, it's a cool globe.
Yeah. That's what, but still, think Alexander the Great. Think about how plus he's in the desert. Think about how delusional you have to be yeah, I can run the world.
Yeah,
I'll run the world.
Dude, you just keep going, basically, further than any Greek had ever traveled. He just kept fucking going. That was his thing. He said he would, keep going until he met the rising sun.
I know that him and his mom were into some wild shit where they had these Greek temples that were on cracks in the earth where some, gas would come up and they would just go in there and just get high as shit and talk to spirits. And just plot out taking over the world, and then did.
Yeah.
And Hitler...
Now, Hitler...
You know, he was an artist, right? So, in art school, he was in some art gallery.
Yeah.
And apparently... No more.
I'm just gonna leave them open, I think.
Fine. Only one. Those are mine.
Alright. Hitler was in art school.
Mm-hmm. And, you can have the other head.
Sounds like the opening to a joke, doesn't it?
Hitler was in art school, and he went to some gallery, and he saw some insane painting, and he had some, profound vision of, basically an extreme delusion of grandeur, overtook him, and he saw the battle plans of how to take over the world. And he said he spoke to the devil, which is really bizarre that all these great conquerors all have these visions and all practice different methods of envisioning their future and then executing those plans. Isn't that weird?
I guess, yeah.
And also, isn't it weird? You think if Alexander had lost, he would have been considered evil in history's memory?
The Persians won, they would have demonized him.
Yeah, because that's how it works. Whoever wins is the good guy in history. Isn't that kind of true?
Yeah, it's a little bit disturbing because you're just talking about Hitler, but...
I know, because he could have won.
Well...
yeah, he still would have been bad.
He would have been objectively evil either way.
Yeah, there's still guys that are objectively evil, huh?
You can win and still be evil. You got your, fucking...
Genghis Khan. Well, is he just chaotic neutral? Yeah.
Yeah, he won and was evil, right? He won and was evil.
Who?
Genghis Khan.
He was evil?
Oh, straight up. He killed so many people. It's incredible.
Back to that thing.
People forget because it was 800 years ago, but he killed so many people that it's just ludicrous.
Yeah, that goes back to that argument I said about the moral atheist that we were talking about, where it's like, yeah, it's really easy to be a moral atheist when you're born into a religious country, because you don't really know how evil people can be.
Yeah.
And then we talked about how, for the past, since Christ, past 2,000 years, basically Earth has been pretty religious for a long time.
Yeah.
And it's been around those three main, the Bible religions, the desert religions.
The Abrahamic religions.
Sure. The desert religions.
Yeah.
I think it's just desert's cool. But, so there's sort of this rule set that the world sort of operates around for about, how long was Christ? 2,000 years ago? 3,000 years?
Yeah, I mean, and Judaism's older.
So you can't remember how people behaved before that, and then you, go to the New World, America, they have it, or even before that, and you see the Aztecs, and you see these wild, seemingly demonically possessed people who acted very, very foreign and strange compared to us. They moved different, they danced strange, they looked demonically possessed, they dressed crazy, and they had crazy human sacrificial religions.
So if you're a 1500s person without much experience with that kind of thing, you would have just flipped out and started murder or converting.
You would have thought they were demons, but the point is, we don't realize where people's minds can go.
Yeah. Because
we've sort of been, the West and most of the world has sort of been born on religious foundations from the Abrahamic religions for so long. You don't realize that humans can, and I really think we're starting to see, as we've gotten away from religion, and everyone has, it seems to just fade in and out. Some demonically possessed people, there's some wild fuckers in the cities in fucking Portland and shit that act like Aztecs. They look like Aztecs. It's creepy.
I think this isn't even something that necessarily needs to be grounded in religion. It's just true that if you have a society with a transcendental image.
Yeah, this is the Axel Age thing you talk about.
Well, yeah, that's what we're in right now. But I'm talking about if you are in a society with a transcendental image,
it's easy to be moral atheist if you have a good image you're following to begin with. Kind of.
Okay, there's something that really fascinates me in Ra's Journey Through the Underworld.
Yeah.
Is there's this hour where he comes upon the, what the fuck do they call them? They're I don't remember what they're called. There's regions of the underworld. Mm-hmm. He comes across the hour of unknown gods, which is something I find absolutely fascinating. That's why this guy's in here.
Yeah,
he's the unknown god, right?
Yeah.
It's that's
new
ludicrously fascinating.
Think of God, different gods as a place your mind can go. It's different channels you can jack into.
Yeah.
I want to be good. I want to be just. I want,
Right. Yeah.
The unknown gods. Yeah, that's wild.
That is wild.
Jesus Christ. Man, the wild thing about those stories, I really have a bad taste when I think about the way people look at old stories as what's the word? Wise tales and just old.
Right.
What's the word? Just.
Well, it's when you don't, because just fairy tales.
Yeah, they just look at them as they're just old fairy tales, wise tales. They're actually unbelievably revolutionary, and they push forward humanity in the path of that way. You have these stories, and then people read them, understand it, and act it out.
Right.
It changes consciousness so much.
Yeah, it informs how you perceive the world. I mean,
yeah.
And this is why I like looking at medieval art, or because it's
and that's the issue when
you should see some crazy shit.
I know.
some of it's literally crazy. Like, I can show you a painting. I at some point have to show you this this painting I came across, or drawing or something, from like 1200 in North Germany.
Mm-hmm.
The fuck, it's like, it's very weird to look at. Like, the feel, the aesthetic of it's super weird. But even if you're not like picking that up, there's a really weird detail that there's just a guy who's hung on a rafter in the background. That wasn't like the intention. It was just like, oh yeah, and there's the hung criminal. That's like, it just didn't even fucking think about it.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
So it's like you're surrounded by all this, and then that helps you see life when you understand all this, which is that becomes an issue when in our culture there's not good art, music's trash, it's pushed out by record labels and industries, and every building is built, they're cheap because it's most profitable, and therefore you walk around New York City and you see the same square office buildings over and over, and it just lowers consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
Versus you walk around Rome with gold and statues, or Europe with huge cathedrals and bridges and fucking aqueducts and like pyramids and fucking
and it makes
Chinese
it
everything,
really,
and you're like,
it provides
totally
like a structure for your mind.
Yeah. Or consciousness.
And this is something I first touched on a long time ago. I said that like your surroundings reinforce your identity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
and it's like,
I think the fact that we listen to the same 4/4 beat and the same pop song over and over, and art is now a banana in a trash can, shows how unhealthy our society is.
Okay. So, there's something I want to bring up, but I'm not sure how it's going to come off for the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
You think I should just plow into it? Right, yeah. So, I think it was, what is his name? Mike Judge, who made Beavis and Butthead, King of the Hill, whatever, right? Yeah. He made a movie, which is pretty mixed reviews. It's called Idiocracy.
Yeah.
You ever heard of it?
No. Actually, maybe.
It's, okay, so it satires, like, low, right? It satires lowbrow, like, pop culture.
Okay.
In this, the plot is that a guy gets cryogenically frozen for like 500 years and wakes up in a crazy, stupid world.
Yeah.
Where it's like,
why are we worse than Europe?
He just wakes up in a really stupid world because, this is it's a little bit of a questionable movie because just plowing into that, it can kind of just come off like an asshole because like it's a little bit like ham-fisted. Yeah, it's pompous and ham-fisted, right? Uh-huh. As satire.
It's ham-fisted.
Yeah, indeed it is. Now, there's something really interesting to me that I noticed about it. So he said, in this world, like the president, like acts like a wrestler or something like that. Mm-hmm. His name was like Durancho or something like that. Uh-huh. And it's and what I see with this is like, hey, I can't have him jumping around. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What I see with this is I see that having. And, obviously I'm not just getting this from this movie, right? I'm getting this from real life, and I'm just using this movie as an example when I'm talking about. Having, like, indulging in really trashy media, indulging in really trashy, like, aesthetic leads to, like, a really trashy culture that brings about really trashy ideals, right? So, like, if you don't have art that supports, like, the real, like, intellectualism or, like, just real, like, how politicians need to be.
And critical thinking.
Both by positive or by negatively showing the disadvantages of bad politicians.
Then no one will.
Then, if you just have, like, a culture that's... where it's, like, Fast and Furious and bullshit.
Trump was the first WWE president.
Right. Yeah, that's my point. It's, like...
And I love Trump.
It's, like... Yeah. But people just, like... People...
Yeah, because people...
start to like politicians who are just...
We're all on low frequency because we have shit art. Get to the point. we're all in low frequency because we have shit art, and then therefore politicians are low frequency. We have a WWE star as the president, Trump, and now we just have a senile pissing pedophile. So that's perfect. Literally completely senile. I mean, it's bizarre. That's whatever.
You need the channel taken down talking like that.
Nah, we're fine. Joe Biden is the best. And then also we live in this Matrix world where straight up 1984, you absolutely are allowed to talk about whatever you want online and no one will take it down ever. It's perfect. Nothing is wrong with it.
Have you ever looked at YouTube's terms of service? It even says that it will absolutely never take down your content for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah, and Twitter...
The misinformation...
is perfect.
Is perfect. It's exactly what misinformation actually is.
It is a conspiracy to say that they will take this video down if we go any farther. That would be dumb.
I wouldn't be surprised if the misinformation tab actually contained a bit about misinforming YouTube viewers, and the misinformation tab is actually a load of goddamn bullshit so they can put whatever the fuck they want on there. That would be utterly surprising to me.
You're telling me you think the biggest world's billionaires who own all the tech we don't understand are in cahoots with the government?
You're telling me that they have their own interest? You know?
No.
Like, no.
Fuck you for saying that. Yeah, that's done. This video is getting taken down. Alright. I think the actual age thing is really critical that people understand this. Because we don't know what it's like to exist in a consciousness not born in the form of Christ. Imagine like a white cross was laying down on every country in the world since the Abrahamic religions. And people sort of basically, actually for once, had similar values and morals worldwide. Which really never happened before. So the moral atheist argument, we're getting away from that.
Okay, I should talk about the moral atheist argument.
Yeah, we're getting away from that because we're entering what? An axial age. Talk about that.
Axial age isn't getting away from that. That sort of makes it look like the axial age is a bad thing, per se.
It's just what's happening.
Yeah, it's like, it's just that, common values, they don't fit very well into an industrial society. It's like...
and they aren't like people... Values are radically different for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, because like, if you find that the old values don't work anymore in an industrial society, as soon as that becomes evidently clear, which was World War I in the West, then the sort of unifying core of the culture is gone, and gradually it allows for a lot more sort of like chaos. Like it allows for a lot more.
We'll talk about the first one. The first one was what? Christ?
What?
People went away from the first axial age.
Oh, the first axial age. Well, I mean, people went away from.
Just two?
I mean, like, only one more in recorded history.
Yeah.
It's
but
like...
it was what, when we went away from paganism towards the Abrahamic stuff?
Towards the modern religions, yeah. Because before that we had agricultural religions that were very, like, fear-based and tribalistic.
Yeah.
Or, like, not exactly tribalistic, but more, like, popular, like, people-based,
Okay.
There probably was another axial age when we went from hunter-gatherer to agricultural societies, because hunter-gatherer religions are notably different than agricultural religions. Like they have very different themes.
You know what's interesting? Well, I'm not very researched at all, but from the little bit of like shit I looked at for like the fucking Ojibwe religions, it actually sounds a lot like Christianity, which is weird. Like Great Spirit sounds like the Holy Spirit to me.
Great Spirit to me sounds like a hunter-gatherer thing. Right. Like, because hunter-gatherers almost always have this, like, a conception of... Because, okay, hunter-gatherer religions are really different because they don't necessarily make humans very different than animals. So they tend to imagine the entire world as being unified by some kind of force of, like, balance between different animals.
God hasn't said you have domain over animals yet, so...
Well, that happens with agricultural societies because they...
We do, all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Interesting. That is really interesting.
It is interesting.
So they're not just dumb old wise tales. They're really, like...
It's like, yeah, it's people...
It's a leap in consciousness that was
understanding the
by
world.
Farmers.
It's people understanding the world
And
through
that's a
images
book,
and
the
metaphors.
Yeah. I would say the
'Cause
Bible is basically a leap in consciousness documented by farmers and goat herders, to some degree. Kind of.
Bible is a what?
Leap in consciousness.
Leap in consciousness.
Documented by a bunch of goat farmers and shepherds.
I suppose. I mean, like,
Which is really interesting.
because it was the religion that won out.
Yeah.
Largely was.
So okay, be concise. You have an actual age. You go from the paganistic and
fear-based, tribalistic, right?
religions of agriculture or
early agricultural
early
societies.
agricultural. All of a sudden, humanity's values are confused. We aren't united around a basic general moral structure. What do we do? The Abrahamic religions are born, and then we are united in this. That's an actual age, a change of structure, of value structure. Correct? That's what it is.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So you've said that you think we're sort of in one now. The West was lost its way after the World Wars, and that's all sort of coming to a head right now. You see people with wildly different values on the left and the right, and the up and the down, and whatever. China, everyone, we're losing our way. It's a new actual age. What comes out of it? I think it will probably be we have a renaissance on our Western values because God said Christ will come again. So I think usually the actual age we flip to a new thing, but I think this time God said Christ will come again. We have to do a twofer. Get all the Christ juice out of the towel.
Yeah, I've imagined that Christianity will continue at least for a while longer in some modified form.
Yeah,
just like
Captain Kirk praise.
I mean, and that can happen because the Hindus survived the Axial Age, right? The Hindus managed to adapt their religion over the Axial Age, so they actually That's why they're like a one nation religion.
Yeah, and they're kind of weird.
Yeah, it is a kind of weird one amongst the other ones.
Because they're old.
Yeah, they're much older.
Yeah. They have a lot of gods, don't they, or no? I don't know.
Originally, they had a giant pantheon.
Yeah.
During the Axial Age transition, this was made into this kind of weird thing where they have one god or simultaneously 1,000 gods. It's fucking confusing. Yeah. I don't know a lot about this. I know it's all these things about avatars and stuff like that, and it's it's a real term, yeah.
Yeah, they're weird. I don't know. I think that thing you made about that because you figured that out, the Axial Age thing. I just added the thing that I think in this one we go back to Christ because God said Christ will come again.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
I figured out stuff about the Axial Age. I didn't figure out the concept of the Axial Age. That's a pre-existing thing.
Well, obviously. But I don't know how no one talks about it. It does seem like we are entering a second Axial Age.
Yeah. Well, I think some people do.
Some people do.
And I think some historians consider that some historians just reject the concept of the Axial Age entirely.
Okay.
I could probably stand to listen to more. One take I heard was so stupid that I swear to God, literally one take was just that the Axial Age is a racist concept. Because I guess it makes judgments against early agricultural societies.
Well, they sucked.
That involve human sacrifice. Human sacrifice is more morally relative.
Yeah.
And if I want to human sacrifice you, I should goddamn well be able to.
That's sick. No, dude, all this woke shit, is perfect. It's all good. But it's definitely not a mind virus where I literally was talking to a kid at work and I was telling him how rap is objectively a shit form of music and you're wasting your time. And I showed him some classical. It's shit.
Yeah, I know. It is. We're coming off pretty heavy here.
Big deal. I think everyone knows rap sucks and it's not music. It's a beat with horrible poetry. What are you guys doing? Stop wasting your time.
And a lot of times
so I
it's
tell
just
them,
samples
hey, rap,
music.
Exactly. They literally just repeat the same 4/4 beat. They don't even write their own beats. They just take a beat out of another. Beat isn't a melody, by the way. They can't even comprehend the idea of melody. So it's already lower. And not only can they not do beat, they steal someone else's beat. But either way, I tell them how bad rap is, and I just show them some classical, I show them some Bach, and I show them Rhapsody in Blue. And I say, every single fiddle player, horn player, piano player in that entire orchestra are all way, way fucking better than Mac Miller. Every one of them. Not to mention the composer who's not even on the same dimension of Mac fucking Miller musically, and his response was, "Sure, but they're probably racist. I don't see one black guy in there. It's a mind virus that's eating away obvious truth, goodness, beauty, and logos. Focus on the good, true, beautiful."
Yeah, I mean, that obviously it's a non-starter, because it's like, sure, there could be black people in there, but, like, how about we have black people playing Rhapsody in Blue?
Yeah.
Instead of just encouraging them to make it, like, instead of just encouraging the worst, like, parts of ghetto culture, like, we're just so morally relative that we're actually tanking the black community.
Yeah.
Like, we're basically, like, promoting the worst idols for them. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for real.
And it's also doing the promoting.
Dude, well, it's actually the Jews. The guy who started...
Fuck, man.
No, I swear to God.
I know literally, yes, there are a lot of Jews in the music industry, but Jesus.
No, it's just New York. It's just New York and power structures. Look, the dudes who started N-Words with Attitude, which is supposed to be a black thing, was literally like 5 Jews from New York. They're literally just keeping... You said it. Guys, you gotta elevate your consciousness. Bach and Mozart is all public domain. Do mushrooms and listen to it. Church is free. Okay? That wasn't a rap, you schmuck.
It's obviously very silly that we've just basically debased ourselves from, like, our existing canon of music.
Yeah.
That's something that just is very strange to me. Like,
has that ever happened before?
I mean, canons of music are kind of a new thing. You know?
What do you mean?
Like...
Well, we sort of just always had classical up until now.
No, I mean... We only started having... Yeah, I mean, like, my point is that we only started having classical in the 1400s, you know?
Yeah.
Before that, like, it was folk music, and it was music that people paid for their parties.
Like harps and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like harps and stuff.
Like pirates with a bunch of fiddle players?
That'd be the folk side.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, who was born?
And then there was church music. And church music is actually the one that derived classical music.
Yeah, they started notating.
Yeah, because they wanted to write down all their hymns and stuff, and that's where that started.
Like, did they invent, like, time signatures and stuff?
Oh, yeah, they invented all the forms of writing.
But churches are just... That's stupid, because as we know, churches...
The Catholic Church repressed science and art for 1,000 years.
They are literally... It's a bunch of wise tales. They're not smart. They didn't invent science and classical music. They stupid.
The Catholic...
Stupid.
Yeah, they... Not only did they not invent science...
You're so stupid you read a mythological, theological book and took it literally and then made fun of people for believing that a dude like Noah actually built a boat for a flood and it's definitely not a metaphor.
Yeah.
I took it literally because my brain's dumb and made fun of you for it.
Who's Saint Augustine? Who is who is that even? Like
so yeah,
let's look at who's Thomas Aquinas. Thomas Aquinas didn't invent Thomas Aquinas. He wasn't a monk. He didn't invent science. That's not true. That's a lie.
So they literally invented classical music and science, and we're gonna make fun of religion for being some dogmatic fucking wise tales.
Yeah, I mean, but like honestly, I can't imagine anyone but Seth MacFarlane believes that the Middle Ages were caused by Christianity. Like, you remember that bit where Seth MacFarlane posited that if we didn't have Christianity, humanity would be 1,000 years more advanced?
Dude, it's just, he worships the devil, so it doesn't matter.
Seth MacFarlane, he really has, like, a high schooler level of, like, knowledge sometimes. Like, all of his stereotypes are, like, fucking high schooler stereotypes, you know what I mean? Yeah. Any culture.
The issue, it's literally a mind virus. Because what it is it's pointing the finger and you point your finger, 3 more point right back at you. And it's all about they're dumb, instead of going, oh, I'm dumb, I need to grow.
Which,
if you don't do that and you just point the finger your whole life, that's what happens.
Right. And saying that we should probably stop talking about how dumb other people are right now. Because we've been doing a lot. It was kind of fun, which is why I was going for it, but like, it was fun. But we're definitely doing too much of that here. Yeah.
The biggest thing I can tell people is Mozart's public domain, Bach's public domain, they're all public domain. Why have any albums been sold in the past 30 years? It's public domain and no one's listening to it, and it's all way better. Church is free. Elevate your consciousness. Go do all that. Don't listen to rap and pay for fucking porn. Yeah. That's how you ruin your life.
It's if we actually have to like deal with porn this generation, which is still weird.
Dude, think about
because it just wasn't available before like the 80s.
Dude, 8-year-olds kids have full access to porn.
I find that very uncomfortable.
It's really uncomfortable.
And you ever like watch porn and like you get the feeling that they're being flashy to attract children,
100%.
and that disturbs the hell out of me.
Dude, no, I know.
Because like that's really
Alex
bad
Jones
for kids.
Jones McAlex is banned off the internet, but porn isn't for kids. Are you fucking kidding me? It's obviously nonsense. We already know. But dude, imagine that you've watched hardcore porn your whole life up until 14. You get your first kiss. It doesn't mean anything. It's all ruined.
Yeah.
Everything is destroyed. The feminine body is destroyed. The masculine body is destroyed. Dude, we got that is the absolute worst crime of the century.
I mean, it's no crime. It's a misstep. You know what I mean? It's like we never had to deal with everyone having access to porn constantly before. That's a new thing. Now, we could have dealt with it better because we did have like strippers and brothels have been around forever, and we had morality for dealing with that.
Yeah, we had morality. Even back in the day, it was in magazines.
It's like it's shocking what we can do with morality. You know what I mean? Like, morality is what keeps us all from being drunks when we all drink constantly. Yeah. Only some of us are drunks, and that's really miraculous.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, if you don't pay attention to morality, shit goes bad way faster than you pay attention. Like, you pay attention to politics, probably things will stay the same if you don't pay attention to politics. But if you don't pay attention to morality, things will start changing real fast.
This is what I'm going to say. Because I was actually talking to someone about this earlier today and I didn't get to finish it. Someone was saying to me that morality is like more important than like the structure of a society, since morality determines the effectiveness of any structure of a society.
Yeah, it's a decent argument.
But this is really important. The structure of a society determines its morality. So like
100%. Yeah. So like it's like, oh, don't become a meth addict. It's your fault for buying drugs. No, the drug dealer shouldn't have been in the neighborhood in the first place. You
like that.
Yeah.
Or in a more broad sense, we can say that if society rewards bad people, then a large large subsection of the population that kind of just follows whoever gets rewarded, which is a huge will become bad people.
Yeah.
It's
Tekashi 6ix9ine should not exist. You're right.
Who's that? Oh yeah, that guy. Yeah.
He should not exist. He has no talent, and he's a dork. And
a criminal, the felon. That makes him gangster, and not just rich enough to get away with it. Don't you know that, Ted? It's not. No, he's rich, Ted.
How is he rich?
Yeah, that's our
society. Never mind Magellan. Never mind Bach. Never mind Thomas fucking Edison. Tekashi 6ix9ine is mentally ill, criminally insane. Let's listen to him.
And there's always like some stupid people who get rewarded in society, but definitely moral relativism is really hurting us here, where we just say Tekashi 6ix9ine is liked. We can't say Tekashi 6ix9ine is a bad person. Has he ever done anything besides put tattoos on discover parts of his skin to put tattoos on?
Yeah. And Post Malone. I like Post Malone, but he's not a good musician. Well, actually, he kind of is, but the music he makes isn't good, so it's stupid. Like, he can actually play guitar and kind of sing, but it's nothing amazing.
Yeah.
And then he just makes mumble rap because that's what the industry wants. It's fucking nonsense.
And you can say moral relativism's like a scapegoat, but like, Christ, it's real. Like, there's a real attitude of like, and there's a tangible attitude. Dude, that whenever you say, there's a tangible attitude that whenever you criticize art, there's a tangible attitude that's not acceptable. That it's not acceptable to say this art isn't good. That's...
Why? Because people say, well, it's subjective?
People say it's subjective. Like, people don't even, like, bother to say it's subjective. They're like, hey, look at this guy thinking he has objective taste.
No,
fucking moron.
To people who say that, I say this.
I say the society thing that I said earlier, where it's like, that's how we end up with Donald Trump, is we just, even Donald Trump, but it's going to be worse next time, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and Trump's not that bad, but it will be worse next time if you have a bunch of low consciousness people projecting their realities.
We're just going to end up electing The Rock president.
No, I know. Like, literally, that was literally a movement was happening. When Trump made it, it became WWE. The presidency just became a fucking WWE.
Kanye West 2020.
Kanye came out. Rock thought about running fucking Mark Cuban. All a bunch of dipshits. No one needs running the country, and all should like get the shit kicked out of them by the reincarnated fucking carcass of George Washington.
Yeah, I mean, and Kanye West is a fucking madman, but like Mark Cuban, like
that dude's such a turkey.
No, like Mark Cuban.
He's also just
he's actually like a person where he's like close enough to Donald Trump that he could have had traction.
Yeah,
and that's not good.
No, I know. And he's a turkey. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, to people who say, "Oh, art's subjective, dude." No, it's more subjective than other disciplines of, the social sciences.
Yeah,
it's more subjective than science. It's more subjective than mathematics by a broad stroke, but it still has objective value to it. Objectively, the Mona Lisa is better than that music thing above your head. Yeah. And it's objectively way better than a fucking banana picture. Like, that's what modern art is. It's just a picture of a banana next to a trash can, not in the trash can. Genius.
And that's like famous. And
like, that means our country is retarded. If our art is that and our music is Tekashi 6ix9ine, we are retarded.
The funny thing about criticizing contemporary art is you're simultaneously picking low-hanging fruit to half the population, and you don't know what you're talking about to the other half of the population.
Yes,
half of the population thinks you don't know what you're talking about when you say that. Wow. The other half thinks you're just hitting low-hanging fruit.
That is a wizard spell from Satan.
Yeah.
That is, dude. That's how bad the divide of consciousness is in the new axle age.
Yeah,
where it's like half the population is, what are you talking about? Stupid bananas are real cool. And the other half's like, obviously, banana trash can's not art.
Stop talking about it.
Yeah.
Like, because that's the divide. That's the popular versus, like, a high art divide. Christ, it's crazy.
The fucking universities failed epically for 30 years, and that's why we have dumbasses running around thinking bananas look good. I'm going to kill myself, bro. I can't believe that that's real. People literally go through... Dude, I can't even imagine it. Because we listen to good music, and then we look at cool art, and we go through life having that as, like, neural pathways that become in your brain, and then you see the world better, like, through these lenses of understanding.
Yeah.
And then you have people who their whole lives is literally listening to Tekashi 6ix9ine and fucking Kanye West and looking at pictures of trash cans for art. They must, like, their whole
those aren't the same people.
Fucked.
Because two of those were popular, but one of those things is a high art thing. You know what I mean? And you kind of wonder why artists are fucking alcoholics now. Why that's the joke, that artists are alcoholics. I fucking wonder. You know what I mean?
We're fucked.
But, look, the way I see it, in the Romantic period, art was doing fucking well. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's to say the 19th century, basically. Art was doing just really well. Mm-hmm. And I think this was, like, kind of, like, class-driven. I think, like, because the aristocracy was thrown off in the Revolutionary period. Mm-hmm. And that's right when the Romantic era begins, by the way. It's at the end of the Revolutionary period.
Okay.
So, like, right...
what century is this?
The 19th. Okay. 1800s. So, right when after the French Revolution, after the American Revolution, art starts getting really good in Europe. We get the Romantic period. It's just... which is, like... Okay. That's like all the fucking good music. From Beethoven to... Cezanne and Rachmaninoff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't think we can consider Stravinsky romantic, but still.
I love Stravinsky for only half his life, though.
Yeah, right. You've heard that later shit.
It's terrible. It's really weird. Like, Stravinsky is like the absolute divide of consciousness of European history, where his first half is awesome, logos, Western. We have melody, we have key signatures. And then the second half is just doing fucking acid and just clicking around different instruments. Okay,
let me come back to that in a second, because I think in the 1800s, now that it was a less aristocratic society, because the aristocracy was funding the arts back then. Before that, so after that, the way arts worked is they were run by like a combination of popular, approval and like critical structures and academics.
Okay.
And these are these two counterbalancing forces. Uh-huh. And then I think what happened in art is those two things split off from each other.
Yeah.
So popular approval went into popular, while academic and critical approval went into high art. and they split off from each other and became incompatible. Mm-hmm. But what's really interesting to me is that if you look at Stravinsky, if you look at his art at the beginning, I agree, great. Rite of Spring's fucking amazing. Mm-hmm. And then movements for piano and orchestra, not so fucking amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the fall of Europe, bro.
But here's the thing. Europe reacted the same way to both pieces. That's what you gotta understand. When Rite of Spring came out, the traditionalists were up in arms, and the bohemians, the more like weird artistry types, were loving it. Okay. When movements for piano and orchestra came out in the 50s, the traditionalists were up in arms, and the bohemians were loving it. And the bohemians won out eventually, in both cases. But that's what you gotta understand, because there was no shift in the structures. The structures just failed to work after a while, right? It's the same structure, the same thing about bohemians versus conservatives that drove Rite of Spring as movements for piano and orchestra. But before World War I, those structures still worked and still produced good art. And then after World War I, those very same structures failed to produce good art.
Lost its trust in itself.
I would say so.
Yeah,
I mean, because like
what would happen after you kill half of yourself?
Yeah,
that's bananas. We have to have a renaissance to ground ourselves in our history, or else we are
absolutely.
A tree without its roots dies. We're like our tether's cut off. We're floating away in space.
Yeah, and like
we gotta
people
get back
are
to the
fucking
ship.
brutal.
We gotta get back to the ship.
If you just like see, this is moral atheists, right? Moral atheists, atheists can't be moral, because they can just basically engage with society, and thus they just kind of piggyback off of societal morality.
So, but they're not moral like in the grandest lens, because if they lived in Aztec times, a Christian would be moral, and then they would just be dancing around fucking cutting heads
let's
off.
say moral in effect, moral in image.
Yeah, but not really.
It's like they can be kind of moral, because it's like this is how it was described to me how an atheist can be moral. Mm-hmm. It's like you can accept that there is no meaning in life or no greater purpose, and then you just you have to do your taxes, so you go do your taxes, and
their life sucks. Why would you want that?
And then you just find life goes on. Hold up, because you have to do your taxes because society says so. That's a societal moral constraint. You have to then go out and work because society says so. That's a societal moral constraint. If you just go out and live life, you're tacitly accepting society's morality. That's how it works, where there really is, where moral atheism really does just derive its morality from society around itself.
Yeah.
It's like, it only lasts while the society around itself isn't moral atheist. Once
once everyone becomes moral atheist, we're just lost.
Yeah. And then you're just kind of spinning, and it's only a matter of time until it just flies off somewhere crazy.
Yeah. No, it's like I said, it's like, dude, we literally are like, this country was founded. All the laws were written and structured and organized and documented and chronicled by religious monks, highly religious monks, and they laid this way of life out in the Constitution, the preamble, everything else. And then a college professor comes around and goes,
"You believe in sky people?
Yeah.
You believe in that sky daddies? Sky daddies? Fuck that shit.
I know how to be good, and everyone does, but is totally blind to the fact you just go to some random spin this globe, put your finger down, land in some random ass village in the middle of nowhere, and people are just like, kill him! He's 7 years old and not 5'2". You have to slaughter your child now.
Yeah, it's like, and honestly, world morality is pretty good because the Abrahamic religions are ludicrously widespread.
Yeah, I know.
And the Confucian religion and stuff like that, they're pretty fucking great too. So it's
the parallels between Confucianism and
there's a lot of cool. They all come out of the Axial Age.
I heard this. What's his name? Jimmy Fallon? No, what's the other one? Jimmy Kimmel. All right. Oh yeah, Ricky Gervais was on, and he made this stupid argument that the reason I believe in science is because if everything went away like that, science wouldn't come back, religions wouldn't, because they're made up. No, you have to just analyze it deeper. You realize these archetypes are truer than true. They expand all they're seen in all cultures throughout all of history. The parallels between Confucianism and Taoism and Hinduism and Christianity are so strong that it has to be true. It comes back. It would come back. These are truths.
Yeah, there are moral truths for sure, but like,
And
what's more is that
which means it's real.
What's more is that why the hell would science come back? Like, it's
Yeah.
like, you know how long it took to think of science?
It took a Catholic.
It did take the Catholics, because the Catholics decided that you had to study the outside world to understand God and divinity, and they decided that God was a rational being that worked with rules, so that the world had to have rational rules that govern it, and that was not the prevailing assumption before that point. There were some societies that thought that, and there were very many societies that thought the world was just irrational and ruled by the whims of chaotic gods.
Newsflash: it has been implicitly brainwashed into, or at least implicitly put into every kid since throughout school, that somehow fucking religion is opposed to science. It's not. It's just a rational process that led to it.
Here's an important note, though. The idea that religion is opposed to science comes out of the Enlightenment. You know what I mean? It's like, this is where we have to understand that this postmodern stuff is an extension of modernism. And I always say, modernism is like a snake, where postmodernism is the snake that's begun to consume itself, its tail, its roots, Christianity. Because it's all one continuum. Like, this idea that religion is bad comes out of Enlightenment philosophers kind of coming to clash with religious figures of their time. You know what I mean? It's like
yeah, because a lot of those scientists, dude, the Catholic Church definitely got corrupt.
Yeah,
obviously. Everything gets corrupt.
Yeah, that's why we had the whole fucking Reformation, right?
But you have to realize that the beginnings, the early shit, those fucking super smart monks in like the 1400s and stuff, like started the scientific revolution, started this thing forward. Right. But the devil.
Things corrupt. You know, it's like the Catholic Church got really corrupt. We had a whole fucking Reformation because of it, and a lot of religious wars.
Yeah.
And during those religious wars, not a great time to be a scientist. When people are fighting religious wars,
not a good time to be a scientist.
Not a good time at all.
Science is cool, man.
Yeah, for sure. And so Enlightenment philosophers, they came up against religious figures a lot, and sometimes they saw that their science was opposed to religion, and oftentimes they tried to work out ways,
It's weird how science has become a religion now.
That can happen, yeah. It's like, science isn't supposed to be a religion, it's supposed to be a tool. But some people will transform aspects of science into these transcendental figures. So you see with figures like Richard Dawkins or whatever.
And Fauci.
Sure, but Dawkins is a great example of this, because Dawkins is a famous atheist. But he treats what's more is he's an influential atheist, and there's a lot of atheist figures that kind of look up to him and act like him. And Dawkins treats reason and progress, which are concepts, as transcendental values, as in things that are just inherently good about society. And that's a really weird thing for an atheist to do. You know what I mean? It's like he treats these things as absolute transcendentals. Because that's an Enlightenment idea. The idea of reason and progress as Jordan Peterson kind of believes that they're, and I kind of believe in progress as just a transcendental value too.
Yeah.
That comes from Christianity and it comes from the Enlightenment. Right? The Enlightenment really nailed that idea in. But reason is a transcendental value because it's been a part of Western society for a very long time, and also because that was integrated into Christianity very heavily. And it's it's well and good to have transcendental values, but it's not well and good to pretend you don't have transcendental values when you do. Dawkins pretends that not only does he not have... Dawkins pretends that transcendental values are silly, and he doesn't have any, when he does have some. Reason and progress aren't just inherent truths of the universe. They're things we choose to believe in, you know? And they're good things to choose to believe in. Things can be good to choose. Choosing irrationality is a bad one. That's not a good one to choose. Because, see, you can kind of say a good mechanic is just seeing how it works out for civilizations.
Uh-huh.
This civilization, which embraced reason and progress, has done pretty freaking good with that concept. We really ran with it. You know what I mean?
Dude, I don't like that. The dog can't be that close to the camera. He's gonna knock it over.
It's fine. He's pretty far away from it, you know?
No, but for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure I can see it from there.
Alright, keep going.
Don't forget, the bed is not touching the chest.
I know, but that thing is like barely on the table. Like you put it like on the exact 1 centimeter away from the ledge.
Yeah, I only have 1 centimeter at the front too. That's just how wide it is.
Alright, what were you saying?
Well, you know, there's a, classical, atheists generally treat reason and progress as transcendental values. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But you have to admit that those are transcendental values, not just necessary truths of the universe. Like, you're putting yourself in the same boat as religious people. You don't have a structured transcendental idea. You don't have text. You don't have, you might have founding text. But, you probably don't have rituals. But these are transcendental values. You know what I mean? It's like
they have rituals. Scientists have rituals now.
Sometimes they do. People do that because people kind of need rituals to an extent. Not whatever the hell you're thinking, I'm guessing, but
Yeah. I don't know what this could be.
That is kind of like a ritual, isn't it?
It is a ritual.
It's a conformity thing because it's like.
You think?
Well, yeah, but it's a ritualistic conformity thing.
Yep.
It's like Confucius always talked about having these universal rites that everyone had to do, just because everyone doing it signified humility to society and a desire to work together.
I agree with that. That's why you should get baptized, not because that's fucking creepy shit, dude. It's really creepy. I mean, we know.
Yeah, I know what you mean because that's not nowadays if someone's not vaccinated. The thought isn't that they're really a danger and disease. If you look at the moral reaction, it's not disease aversion. It's anger. What it is it's the sign that you're someone who can't be trusted. It's a sign that you're maybe a conspiracy theorist.
Mark of the Beast. Ever heard of it?
I really worry about the society trending towards religious style warfare and fucking.
Mark of the Beast, bro. This actual age, we're going back to Christ. God said it. Fucking pick right, people.
What I'm saying is that they see that as the mark of a beast. It's they see not having to ask.
You gotta not say those words.
We just bleep,
No, I don't feel like
doing time 9:01. All right, I'm watching these 8:52, 9:01. All right.
It's just if we get in the habit now, we don't have to worry about it.
Fair enough. I'm not gonna say that. All right, I'm not Newt Gingrich.
All right, say.
Richard Nixon, and that's better. Richard Nixon.
Well, you get the
What?
Shot.
Okay, I'm not doing any of this. Is stupid.
You got it. Whatever. You can't say those words.
I get it.
Because we live in a totally fair and free society where everything's good. Everything's great.
Yeah. Actually, we'll say gas is down. That's fun, at least.
By what? 4 cents?
At 40. 4.19 it was.
No way.
Really? I'm serious. 4.19. I was stoked about that.
Well, it's still up double.
Yeah, it's still double, but it's no longer triple. Yeah. So that's fun.
I just want to get hit him. I just want to really fucking punch him. I really just want to get him stabbed right in the liver. You know? It's
it's almost like you shouldn't disrupt all the domestic oil moving mechanics when Russia is not giving us oil. It's almost like that's a bad time to do that.
Yeah, it's it's almost like I just want to fucking punch you. Politically. Good, it's just goofy.
Threatening harm against others.
People have lost meaning. People don't have any meaning. I'll tell you, there's 2 main reasons. Community. Everyone, once they get about 17, really has an urge to be a role model to a younger kid.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't do that because it's weird now. Now that's considered weird, which is not normal.
Oh yeah,
it's very normal.
It is considered weird. Look at how like, because Jordan Peterson does that. Like, he likes to pretend be a role model, and it's like, what do people say? People say he likes to be some kind of
wizard.
No, like some kind of vicarious father figure, and it's like, and people like will be like, oh, what, you like your fucking daddy Peterson? And it's like, dude, he's just trying to be a role model. All people should strive to be role models. That's a good thing to do.
Dude, if you're a young girl, you know, if you want to be happy, and like you're losing meaning in life, let's say you're like 19, and it's like, what the hell? All I have is a phone and like a fucking vibrator. This is not fun. Dude, be a role model to like someone younger than you. It makes you really happy. And also, set up your house with art. That's why people had photos and art all the time. It brings meaning to you.
Yeah.
Have photos of your family around. Have art. That's meaningful.
That's very meaningful.
Have a fucking kid you're a role model for. That's meaningful. That's why you gotta play football when you're in high school and male. And when you do that, don't be a fucking...
Don't be like a... Fuck, like... Yeah, how do you even say it? Don't be a... debaucherous, like... Fuck, like...
Just don't be a dick. Help out the freshmen.
Yeah. Don't be, Fuck, I don't even know how to fucking put it. It's like...
You can do a little hazing, but help out the freshmen.
Yeah.
You know, these are the things that bring you meaning. It's very easy. It's just your heart and your instincts. Beauty, people, love, kindness, community. That's what people like. The reason people go to college for $100,000 is because the last sense of community and knowing you're going to be around people your own age. And it's like, after I graduate, everyone goes away.
That's scary as hell.
$100,000.
That's scary, and that's scary as hell for people. It's like,
It's
because people this age, people like our age, are in an age where they just need that.
Yep.
More than any other age. This is not something I'm making up. That's like what was his the stages of development. What was his Piaget?
Yeah, that's
No, I don't think it was Piaget. It was one of the other stages of development ones. Okay, one of the stages of development is all about... He literally says that this period in life is about,
Yeah, it is, obviously. So and we're so artificially separated from each other because... And this is how it works. The phones keep you separate because you are artificially seeing an influx of social interaction. Way too much. Right there. So your brain goes, too much. But really, you're actually starved of it. Yeah. So that's why when you text people, it's not like calling people because you're not actually communicating with them. You're just, information's being sent back and forth emotionlessly.
You ever literally just and I've heard other people describe this issue, and every time I hear it, it's like, a little fucking anxious right now. You know what I mean? It's like, because that literally just, how many people get made anxious when they just hear that? Do you get made anxious when you hear someone describing that problem?
Of how bad phones are for you?
Well, and the social stuff and whatnot.
I did for a long time. I'm just getting beyond it. But yeah, and if it makes you anxious, dude, things that are hard and make you feel anxious and give you those butterflies, that's got to elbow you. You got to lean into those things and figuring it out. And try and figure it out and how to execute a battle plan against it.
Society's getting really atomized. That's hard to miss.
Yeah.
And part of it just comes from a pursuit of efficiency. Because, what's the most efficient way to deliver goods to people that waste the least amount of goods?
Oh.
It's online shopping. That's how.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, but that's
what's the most efficient way to get to point A to point B?
Take an
Uber.
Uber.
That'd be better, honestly. You go inside of a box, you're alone. You you arrive at your destination eventually.
Yeah.
I have this thing. I don't like...
Dude,
I don't like people taking cars to go 2 blocks because it's like if you walk 2 blocks, you talk to people. You can't do that in a car.
Yeah, that's true.
Only
if you stop at a red light for 32 seconds.
Yeah, and it's like, do you want to walk? Because fuck, there's streets everywhere. Yeah. It's like there's cars going everywhere here. You're an asshole if you walk. Really, you're making it harder for the cars.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's sidewalk.
Yeah.
But no.
Because I went to Best Buy and I went to Office Max today. And I walked from Best Buy to Office Max. They're in the same lot. This was weird.
Yeah.
Because...
Everyone else would have drove.
Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
That is weird. There's no town square anymore, really.
Yeah.
We kind of have one with our downtown.
Our downtown's pretty fucking cool. It's
alright.
Compared to, anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is weird. We're getting really atomized, and Humans are awesome. Don't forget it, guys. Your potential is unlimited. I promise you. It's weird how many times I've done research into many, many different things. And from the psychological perspectives, like Jordan Peterson, to religious perspectives of... Dude, they're strange with the Catholic Church that it's like... Do you ever feel like you have some untapped potential and you're special? And you are. God wants to access your full potential. Talk to him. And it's like, holy shit. You really can... This is Peterson, but it's also in religious texts, which lets you know that it's true. That it's seen through many different people throughout many different eras of history. You can create a image of what your life will be like. Try and articulate battle plans of how to get there. Run all that plans. Work yourself hard. And create a new life for yourself. And that's meaning. That's a surfer riding the absolute top of the wave on the brink of chaos and order, but not falling, and fucking landing that shit. You can do that. If you don't know what you're going to do, think about what are your talents, how can I actualize this battle plan? And pray about it. God will help you.
Hey, can I...
It's crazy. But, dude,
I want to check my phone.
Human potential is, like, unbelievable. Everyone has ridiculous potential inside you. It's just repressed.
Okay. Here, I'll say something about this. So earlier I was saying that that it's true that morality informs the structure of a society. Mm-hmm. And then some people will conclude that morality is then more important than the structuring of a society. Mm-hmm. And I say, well, structuring of a society also informs morality. See, the key there is it's all about individual action. You know what I mean?
Take your phone. I'm nervous now.
Yeah. All right. Thank God. I'm just gonna save that and then we're gonna start a new clip.
Will it delete if it shuts off?
Just let me save this.
Sure.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't want to risk it.
Yeah.
It's gonna take a couple seconds. Oh, that was fast. All right. Yeah. Cool. Clip 2.
Should I save this?
Oh wait, hold on. I gotta do this again.
Should I save this?
That should be safe.
Right.
We've never had any issues with those.
Okay. What are you saying?
I want to do this again just for...
Are you sure that that's on?
Yeah. Yep. I can go check if you want, though. Yeah.
This is nervous.
Yeah, no.
This is on the edge of chaos and order.
Yep. Well, yeah, I mean, that's like the... Here. Right, now, scene 2?
Nah, we'll just smush it together.
Yeah, we'll smush it together, I know. Uh-huh. Alright, so, look, society... Mm-hmm. Okay, so, like, when you look at society, you can say that structuring society isn't important because the morality of a society will always impact how well any structure functions. Like, democracy still requires people to be moral. Aristocracy, monarchies require kings to be moral. You know what I mean? There's always a requirement. It's like, but at the same time, structures of a society inform morality. In that, like, a society that rewards bad people will just lead to that society. Will lead to people in that society getting worse because a lot of people will just do what gets rewarded. You know what I mean? And it's like
the conditions need to be right. Yeah,
well, it's like, and I'll keep explaining this and by the way, that's a thesis at Game of Thrones. By the way, that a lot of people kind of miss is that because like a lot of fantasy novels, they kind of just glorify monarchies and aristocracies for some reason. Mm-hmm. Like they glorify the idea of natural birthright. Mm-hmm. Have you noticed that, by the way? Fantasy novels, even like Star Wars, like fantasy derivatives, got this like big thing of bloodlines and stuff.
Yeah. I never thought of it as glorifying, but sure, yeah.
It's very... If you get into real fantasy, it's really, like, present. Yeah. Like, even Lord of the Rings, the restoration of the true king. Mm-hmm. It's like a...
And the thing is, people actually like that shit, because, like...
Yeah, people do like... We can get into that in a second, but what I'm going to say is, a thesis of Game of Thrones is that, like, a big thing they play importance to is that aristocratic monarchies reward the most ruthless people. That the really bad forms of government. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, the Game of Thrones really shows how just letting an aristocracy and monarchy play out will result in really shitty people rising to power over time.
Mm-hmm.
So structures of a society inform the morality of the society. In the same way, morality informs the success of the structures.
Yeah.
And what this is, and that's the same thing with like so many other aspects of a society. Like we say how Renaissance art leads to, Enlightenment philosophy,
Like
right?
Mm-hmm.
And simultaneously, the Enlightenment philosophy led to the political revolutions of the Revolutionary period, which led to really great art.
Wow.
It's like, everything can lead into everything else, and the way it works is it's just about how well the individuals of the society act. It's not that morality is what's important or that structure is what's important. It's that the people making structures make the best structures, and the people making morality make the best morality, and it has this like cascading effect over time where they all impact each other, and it sort of spirals forward. And it's like it's kind of complicated. This is why we where we talk about this thing that I can't really quite put to words, where like being good isn't necessarily about actions, because any action could be good or bad. It's like it's not even about a state of mind. You know what I mean?
I think
it's complicated because it really isn't. It's because states of minds are like they're informed by the society around them. It's like this process you do, which of like you can say constant improvement, but there's no real way to describe it. It's this process you undergo that makes things better. You know what I mean? If you're a musician and you undergo this process, you will make better music. You know, if you're a moralist and you're undergoing this process, morality gets better. It's like it's this constant.
It's sort of like how a conversation which is true and honest is better than reciting a script of facts.
Right.
Because it's honest.
It's honesty. That's what it is.
It's almost undefinable.
It's truth. Like good is tied in with truth.
Because I'd rather hear an honest conversation than someone recite a script of facts.
Yeah.
That's that's more true than true. It's really hard to define. Yeah, that's why people talk about the heart and the gut in every culture, because that's the only way you can like find that feeling of this feels right.
Yeah.
You have to trust your gut.
I mean, because like all new things, they can't exactly be consciously thought out after a certain point, because like to be consciously thought out means to be rooted in things that are already there. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I called Gus today. He told me it's amazing how much you're affected by culture, because it's beyond what you think. You think in English.
Yeah.
Think about that.
I know. No.
And I was listening to Jordan
that's right.
Peterson.
That's right.
It literally, that's how strong culture affects you. How you think is in English. It's not in art. It's not in something else. It's in English or Chinese, which is probably vastly different in its like articulation of ideas. And I was listening to this Jordan Peterson thing where one of his clients, right? That's the correct word. Yeah, was some like
patient,
legitimate. I don't think he was mentally ill. I think he was just researching.
That's still a patient, I think.
Okay. He was a normal guy. He was like a legitimate, like fucking Indian dude from Canada, like actual Native American.
Oh yeah.
Legitimate.
Yeah, one of the first.
And he said he thought he was illiterate. He thought in cave paintings and like they're fucking cool ass like moose gods and like all that shit they have.
Yeah.
That his dreams were that every night he slept, it wasn't words, it wasn't people, it was his whatever like paintings they have of their gods and moose and bears and they have images of all their gods, and that's how he thought. It's unbelievable how much culture affects you.
Yeah, it really is. It's inestimable. It's like people overlook this. This is that thing where this is why moral relativism seems so easy from the seat of our society. It's a really well-developed culture where people aren't very violent towards each other at all.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like...
That's hard.
And it's like... people underestimate how much of that is culture, how much of that is established tradition. It's like... It's all culture. It's all established tradition. Yeah. It's like everything between us and cavemen was culture and established tradition.
I wonder what would happen if you could take someone, like let's say all of a sudden there was no one on Earth except one dude who had amnesia. And he wrote out a morality structure. What would it be like?
So like what you mean to say is like because with amnesia, like it's complicated the way amnesia works, but usually people
don't take it literally.
Yeah, I know. I'm getting past that, and I'm saying that like so what you're imagining is just if you have no record of morality, and you just reinvent morality, what would happen?
It could go any fucking direction.
Well, it would be something very similar to the id, I think. Like it could maybe go any direction, the unknown gods, right?
Yeah.
But it would rotate around the id, because that's what things move away from.
Yeah.
This is my thing with Nietzsche.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think eventually you tap into the right channels, you find Christ, which is paralleled in Confucianism, and then the West comes back. Logos comes back. Eventually, but it would take forever, and we would go through a lot of Aztec wacko shit.
Yeah, well, it would be like, okay, well, the thing is, we're not, like, in a perfect state.
I know.
So you imagine there is a perfect state, and maybe we're some distance from that perfect state. So you'd imagine, hopefully, that a new morality structure spontaneously generated from animal instinct would maybe not be the same as where we're at now, or even be very similar, but would be the same distance from this perfect state, this idea of a perfect morality.
Yeah.
So
what were you saying about Nietzsche?
So Nietzsche said that
was he the Ubermensch guy?
Yeah, Ubermensch guy. So he believes in this society where people are Ubermensch,
and everyone's their own philosopher.
Yeah, who's their own philosopher, and it's like, and I don't like that idea, because I say, it's like, that's bad. That's bad specialization. It's like, if everyone's their own philosopher, not a lot of philosophy, either the world's going to fall apart, or not much philosophizing is going to get done.
Yeah.
Because it's like, being a philosopher takes a fucking long time.
Why would you want to start from scratch?
Like, everyone would start from scratch and only have an hour a day an hour a month to work on philosophy. Yeah. So what you just immediately have is a reduction of philosophy to, like, tribalistic levels, because those are easy. Yeah. It's really easy to have tribal philosophies. Yeah. That doesn't take very much. No. So you just immediately see a huge regression of society. Nietzsche was fucking smart, but he was fucking insane. You know what I mean?
Shit. I love Nietzsche, though. He's super smart. It's really interesting. I think everyone should know about the Ubermensch.
Yeah.
What also everyone should know about is the studies on let me think of the word. Authority by... Fuck, why can't I think of it? What the hell was his name? Either way, it was like an experiment in like the 30s or something where you click the zip. Yeah. What was his name? What is found...
I'm shit with names,
is I believe only 30% of the population, statistically, has the ability to say no to the authority figure.
Right.
Which is beyond insane. It's like a sine curve. Right, so you have like 68% of the population just follows it, and then you have 16% on either side. That's the side that makes shifts, because that's the George Washingtons, that's the Alexander the Greats that will stand up and say no or yes in response to, in disagreement or in opposition of something. Everyone else literally cannot say no to an authority figure, which is actually mind-boggling.
Yeah,
that's statistically a fact.
That's a little harder than like his original conclusion, but I get what you mean totally. It's like
it's
like
insane.
You do need to we've been specializing these things just as we switched from everyone farming to a couple of people farming for everybody, and that meant way less farming had to be done. Mm-hmm. Also, technology got better, but like generally that's how it works, and it's like for a very, very long time we've been specializing leadership and ideology because everyone doing leadership and ideology works out very poorly. It's like if you specialize it, things work a lot better. And I feel like I was going somewhere else with that. You know, it's like...
Yeah. Here's an interesting test about the addictiveness of technology.
Mm-hmm.
I challenge people to ask themselves and answer honestly, and then analyze your answer honestly and realize that there's probably an objective right answer here that might not be your answer. Would you rather have a kid or a TV? Or a kid or your iPhone? If you had to pick. Dude, a stunning amount of people would really be like, oh shit. Man, I'd rather have an iPhone. That's how addicted we are. It's disgusting. We're not cyborgs.
That's possible, but I can't imagine anyone going with that long term. I feel like people that are like 20 don't want a kid yet, so they say that, but like...
That's fucking weird. Because I tell you this. Now imagine you have a kid, and someone goes, do I break your iPhone and banish you from all technology forever or kill your kid? You will then answer not kill the kid. Everyone should understand that.
Yeah.
It's staggering how addictive this technology is. Maybe we're supposed to be cyborgs, maybe we aren't, but I don't like it right now.
It's I mean, like there's real problems that need to be sorted out. I don't think the solution can't be retreatism, right? We can't just be like, okay, let's let's have no technology. That's okay. You want that timestamp?
Yeah, 9:25.
9:25. Huh? I'm just timestamping stuff we need to cut right now.
Alright, timestamp that for a TikTok.
This is gonna be really easy to check too, because the clock is in the shot.
Hell yeah.
Oh, I hope it's in the shot. I hope it's in the shot.
I think it is.
I think it's in the shot. Yeah.
Go check.
It is. Okay. It is. Cool.
Alright, also the Japanese have an interesting thing. When a fight happens in a schoolyard, they send an older kid over to break it up. So that teaches how smart is that? So first of all, the little kids don't get embarrassed.
Yeah.
You get in a fight, you get broken up by some authority figure, you're embarrassed.
Right.
Especially if you lost. So you don't get embarrassed, and it teaches the older kids how to be a good figure.
That's pretty smart. And I want to talk about that.
In the West, we're not even allowed to wrestle or pick up snow.
I know.
They banned snow.
Kids like the roughhouse. I got into it. I'm not a fucking roughhousing type, but like, kids like the roughhouse. It's a natural part of life, and it's like, and you get back. I got fucking like, I got in trouble. You know, it's like, and not like cool in trouble, like lame talk about your feelings in trouble. You know what I felt like? I felt like it was fun to like roughhouse. That's what all kids feel like. I feel like it's fun to pretend there's factions that we could fight each other.
Yeah,
that's what kids do.
I know. Well, it teaches you how to be as strong as possible and how to not hurt people.
And it's like,
it teaches you about how to utilize your potential.
Yeah.
And you cut that off from people, and then all of a sudden people have meaninglessness. Wonder why? They don't know how to utilize your potential. It's utilizing your potential in a physical form as a kid, and then you understand that and actualize that in any way as an adult. You have to play. It's the microcosm of everything. If we ban that, we ruin minds.
And like this. Now, here's what I'll say. I feel like there is an extent to which being broken up by an authority figure is kind of natural. Like, there is something just kind of natural about an adult just coming along and being like, knock it off. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, but doing the whole hug your emotions.
Yeah, that's really lame. Like, I'd rather just be like,
knock it off,
yeah.
Turk.
No, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
No fighting while I'm around. Like, it's better than
I don't like the government deciding how my fucking kid should be taught. It's all a bunch of
Fuck, man.
It really is, dude. I remember the counselor at our elementary school. I mean, all that gobbledygook they read, going to fucking 9 years of college to make $39,000 a year. And it's just like, we have to talk about our emotions, and I have to show you a book with a kid of every different color.
Make I statements.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Teach kids that. It's all about me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like it's helpful to learn to talk about your emotions, but it's like almost too early to instill that. Because if you instill it that early, they won't learn to talk about other people. Yeah. You know, it's like It's like.
Dude, what the hell? And then the iPhone comes out. That's creepy. I don't like that at all.
I mean, with the iPhone, it is called the iPhone because it's but whatever.
Well, because it's all about you, and it's literally an eye that watches you.
Because because the phone is like a customization and therefore an extension of you.
Yeah, I know. It's the iPhone, but it's also the iPhone. It's watching you. There's a camera on it.
Yeah, sure.
And then I statements. All right, that's all creepy. I mean, when I think about elementary school, then it's really creepy what we got taught. I mean, we literally got racism shoved down our throats. I remember watching that fucking movie.
I'm not going to quote that movie because I'm not sure that was the theme of that movie.
It was Africa and everything was white, and they were like, the leopard died because you couldn't hide in the wheat or whatever. And the white dude died he got skin cancer. And then it's all of a sudden, the tiger has stripes and the white dude's a black dude and he's dancing, and then that's happy, and then the end. What the hell is that shit? Why are you gonna show that to kids?
Why is your childhood so fucking weird? Like I don't know.
Me?
Like yeah, when schools just like get fucking weird right after I got through them.
Apparently, man. Like how weird is that? Why did I have to watch that when I was in 3rd grade? That's not normal.
That is just weird. But like, I don't think what you're suggesting.
My generation watches that when they're like 7 years old, and then my generation grows up, and all they care about is race and gender. I mean, connect the dots, people.
Wait, hold up. When we're talking about race and gender, let me think here, because it's like people. Shit. Damn, that's a bitch. I was there was something there, like on the tip of my tongue, but I couldn't quite.
It's a throwaway one. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, but shit, I was gonna go somewhere good. Fuck.
Dude, remember when we would try and invent our own species when we were little?
Yeah, like we watched like alien cartoons and stuff, so
yeah,
it was a natural extension.
What the hell is he doing? You would not be a species on my planet because you would die.
You were a dog that has hairballs.
Did he?
No, he doesn't actually spit it up, but he coughs because he licks himself too much.
Dude, that dog is...
We gotta he's got hot spots. I really gotta get a hold of the vet,
Let's not talk about that. Good boy. Hi. What are you looking at? Do you have a cookie? No.
It's pretty fucking cute though.
Yeah. Oh, that was cool when we were kids. What were mine? I remember yours was that weird jellyfish thing that floated there.
Oh, yeah. Well, that one was like, yeah. Cause that's fucking...
What was mine? Mine was just a fish guy. I was a genius.
No, I made a fish guy.
What the hell did I... I didn't even make anything.
You made something, I'm sure. I think it might have had a lot of eyes.
Wasn't there a Ben 10 thing called the Eye Guy? Yeah, there was. Holy shit, I forgot about that fuck.
He was in like fucking 10 episodes at most.
Dude, yeah, that was the greatest show ever.
That was, yeah. It was a great show. In that period of time, cartoons were pretty good, but they had to be toy marketable
so they would
still.
Just make a fucking alien.
Yeah, they just make a fucking like Eye Guy appears in 3 episodes in the original series and then is like referenced after that. Has a cameo.
Yeah. Sell toys. I mean, I don't know. That's cool. What else? I really think that the music thing is really pivotal because to me it seems as though music, specifically classical, is so mathematical and so layered. And so what is music? You have different tones and different pitches and different rhythms, but all being encompassed in one overall rhythm. Articulated and layered over each other, and different melodies and arpeggiations and chord structures if you scored it out and you could see it, it's like this mathematical awesome thing, like those Smallin videos you show me.
Yeah.
That, to me, seems to be how ideas interact with each other. That you have this concept and they swim together. And
I thought about that too.
Formulate this grander thing, and it's like, if you listen to rap, it's no wonder our society is so one note, and it's just the liberals or the Republicans. And
well, even beyond that, not only does rap not have ideas interacting, which
Or
involves
popular
like
country.
counterpoint and layers,
yeah,
it also, because it's so rhythmic, the ideas don't evolve.
exactly. So you're listening to one idea,
Yeah.
which is why you can't. People lack the ability to entertain more than one idea at once, and that's why the division of the country is. It's impossible, because how could you possibly, if you don't know how to entertain multiple things at once because you listen to country and rap, and those are all the exact same idea for 3 minutes over and over, how can you entertain someone else's ideas politically, religiously, philosophically? Because you can't understand multiple ideas being layered together. It just destroys consciousness. That's the most pivotal thing we need to hit with people. Unbelievable. Because if you actually listen to Bach and do mushrooms, and then you actually understand it, that expands consciousness, and you're able to then...
Yeah, I tend to view this as
Plato
like...
said the mark of the great mind is to entertain ideas he does not agree.
I've always thought that ideas sort of travel down from the most abstract to applied arts. So the way I usually would envision it is that
abstract
music is the most abstract, and then like you might imagine that like really shit music would result in really one note like,
Everything
poetry, and then
Buildings.
Movies are much more applied thing.
Architecture.
Yeah, but movies are way more applied, and then
we got Fast and Furious and fucking office buildings, man.
Yeah, movies. Movies are they're pretty fucking shit right now. Like there's a couple of. And I don't even hate the like Marvel, but it's not like it doesn't compare to what we had in the past, but like
it's a joke.
It's a
complete joke. I do hate Marvel.
I don't. Yeah, I think there's some value. I do.
I'm Captain Fake in America. Look at my tights. What a tweet.
It's America's ass. They said that in one of the fucking...
And then they all turn black and gay. Like, okay, I didn't see that coming.
It happened in the 70s,
It's just so predictable. Did they make Captain America a black guy?
They didn't make Captain America a black guy. They made Captain America old.
And then a black guy replaced him?
More or less.
That's weird.
It's just, that's what happened in the 70s in Marvel Comics,
Don't care. Batman and Superman's better. Well, Superman's lame, but Batman and the Joker is the best dynamic in all
Batman's
by far.
Batman's like rogues, as it's called. All of his villains are pretty just fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Batman's rogues is like...
Batman is by far the best superhero.
He's got like
man.
if we have to take any superhero like in isolation the way their universe works, Batman's got the coolest like setting.
Dude,
but his setting doesn't vibe with like the Justice League or whatever. And I think the MCU is a really cool thing. Or just like
it literally should just be, dude, Batman's, because his relationship with the Joker, it's like they always almost kill each other, and they're like, we're gonna keep doing this till we kill each other. Like, it's an obsession. It's unbelievable. It's literally, I think, God and the devil's like that. It's just like these like two unstoppable things that are chaotic and order, and they're just obsessed with fighting with each other because everything else is peanuts. They're so above everyone else.
It's interesting.
Yeah, that's why like DC all the way, man. DC does have some
DC has some shit. But DC has Batman. Like, let's be real. You know what I mean?
I'm Batman. I mean, at least he was kind of...
Even Batman is a bat for some fucking reason.
Yeah. You could have made him cool.
Could have just been a man. That would have been better than a bat.
I would rather watch, like...
Man.
Bruce Wayne.
Just normal man.
Yeah, just Bruce Wayne.
Well, if you do that, he's basically just a detective novel, but whatever.
Yeah.
He's like a souped-up detective novel.
Yeah.
Right?
Which is cool.
Yeah.
Like, Superman's
cool.
lame, because Superman's not smart, he's just unstoppable.
Yeah, well, he was just the first one,
Yeah. And, like, what's his arch enemy? Lex Luthor? He's not that interesting.
Brains, Browns, whatever, It's cool.
Yeah, Brains,
it's
Browns
cool.
Division. That's okay. But he's also fucking hurt by the sun or whatever. Superman's stupid.
Hurt by kryptonite.
No, but he needs the sun. If it's nighttime, he loses too.
Oh, so they just kept making up shit, let's be real.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen 50 Superman comics? I swear, they literally just kept making up shit.
Yeah.
Do you know what pink kryptonite is?
No.
It's what you think it is, Ted.
What?
It makes Superman gay. That was a real plot.
Really? It makes him gay?
They had a lot of weird comics in the 50s, man.
Black kryptonite is?
There was these things called the Comic Code Authorities. It's a real fucking thing. I swear to fucking God.
Black kryptonite is crack.
They used to, like, have these, like, this thing where they had, like, clickbait comics in the 50s. Mm-hmm. Where they would just have, like, think of the most ridiculous thing possible for the cover of the comic, and then they'd explain it with some stupid-ass bullshit. So they just had gay Superman for a comic, and people, like, would, like...
In the 50s?
Yeah, it was like clickbait. It was weird. And then it turns out, and then they made a pink kryptonite to explain that. I'm not fucking shitting. That's real.
Retarded. It is weird to me that the boy... that Jonesian Mick Alexander blew up the Bohemian Groves and proved that they worship Moloch the Owl, for sure. And then that's supposedly been running society for a while. And it also just so happens that in pop culture, owls are associated with wisdom.
Come on, man. You know that goes back to ancient Athens.
No.
Well, yeah.
Well, I'm sure it does. You get my point. The cults were running shit, man. And they let us know. Owls are wise because that's their fucking weird pagan ritual.
I don't buy that. I really don't.
Hey, what do you think of this? What key is this? No.
It's G major.
G?
Yeah, G. See, hit a G now.
I don't know the notes on a piano.
The first note you hit is a G, so hit a G, then an F, then a G.
Huh?
And now hit a G again. See, resolves. It's G major.
Nice. So... I actually like that. That's kind of cool. So you could do like...
Look at this fucker.
Listen. You could do like a really hypnotic sort of cyclic thing. Right? You could.
Yeah, you could.
And then I would just play in G major.
Just don't forget G is the thing that resolves that.
So then eventually it has to go...
That's D.
Okay.
That's A.
There. Alright, so you could...
Or you could go, you can go G, F, then D, E like you did before. Dun, dun, dun.
But so I could do that and then just rip in G minor over it. Or you said major?
Major, yeah.
What's the minor of that? A?
Okay, G major. No, wait, is it G major? What is it? I mean, it's A major. It's not. I'm not sure if it's Dori or no Ionian though, which is the traditional major.
I'm sure. I'm just gonna play in G. I don't care. I'm sure. I think A minor and G major are the same, correct?
You know what? It's got to be Mixolydian.
I'm not dealing with that.
G Mixolydian, Ted.
Yeah, I don't know any of that.
That's just what it is. That's probably why it sounds so weird. You know, it's Mixolydian.
What sounds so weird?
That's probably why it sounds so like hypnotic.
Okay, interesting. But I'm gonna play G minor over that because I know the blues scale.
Sure.
That's it. I plan on learning more eventually. But either way, I think that I could turn that into a cool song if I could just tone color it out, add some big heavy piano chords. Yeah, that's a good one. I really like that cascading effect and hypnotic effect that really simple melodies have sometimes.
Yeah. I think maybe simple melodies are more open to tone color or something like that.
Pretty much, yeah. And it,
like go the Ravel route or whatever.
I also realize I need to have a couple more songs with guitars over the top of them. because a lot of I only have like 2 right now. What's he doing?
He was just trying to like himself, so.
Okay. I feel like we're forgetting something.
Yeah, you know, we're always gonna be forgetting something. We didn't finish talking about. Well, I was describing Greco-Bactria.
Yeah. Check your notes for something fresh.
Okay, but I just want to say, they were the point is that they were the first other civilization the Chinese came into contact with. Directly.
Oh yeah, talk about what the Chinese thought about the Romans. Talk about that.
That's not what I was gonna talk about.
Talk about that.
It's no. I don't have anything interesting to say about that. It's kind of cool, but it doesn't have any relevancy on the topics we're talking about. You know.
Yeah, I'm done with those topics. Talk about that.
You don't get how this kind of thing works. It's like when you just say, you know, a snake eating itself is cool without any context. It doesn't mean anything.
I think we've just been going on that stuff for a while. We should refresh with a new subject.
Okay, well, let's just start talking about the Greco-Bactrians then.
Alright, what?
So, Alexander, conquered a bunch of territory, and in Uzbekistan, there was a frontier kingdom of the Greeks called Greco-Bactria. You see, that place was kind of empty-ish. Like, not empty, but, very low population, so they were able to maintain a kingdom there.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first society that a Chinese ambassador made contact with, was Greco-Bactria. And apparently it was a pretty advanced society, had all the Greek architecture and stuff. There's still some ruins there today.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that really interesting. So yeah, the Romans weren't the first ones that they came into contact with. It was actually the Greeks.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a really interesting account, because the Chinese before that had never seen another civilization have civilization and buildings and stuff.
Savages and marauders around them.
Yeah, or otherwise smaller subsidiary kingdoms and stuff like that.
Yeah, okay.
So that was the first time they came across an independent civilization that had all the architecture and the art and stuff like that.
Have they seen white dudes before?
No.
So that's it's like aliens.
Yeah, and they what they started doing with that was they affixed the pronoun da.
That would be literally like if we showed up on Mars and it was like, yo, check this building out. And it was fucking Martians.
Yeah, and they went through the fucking desert too to get there. Yeah.
So that's the hero's journey.
Yeah. And they went through Yeah. So either way, they called it they called the Greeks da yuan. Mm-hmm. Yuan comes from Ionian. It's an old word, which is pronounced yoni in Greek. So da yuan. But the word da is interesting. It means great, because it was the first time they ever came into a contact with another civilization, so they had to affix great to it to make note of the fact that this was a real deal.
Big time, man.
Yeah.
That's world shattering.
Yeah, that would be, because that was their world before that. This is why the Chinese are very snobbish, because for a long time they just thought they were the only big civilization.
Yeah.
You
snobby Chinese.
Yeah. Well, you know what I mean.
All right.
Yeah. And so they came into contact with the Dayuan, and later on, then they came into contact with the Persians. Right, the Dayuan collapsed. That's the Greco-Bactrian Kingdom, of course. It collapsed eventually,
Mm-hmm.
And then the Persians traded with the Chinese. The Chinese had been in trade with the Persians for a while through third parties. But after this point, they could trade with the Persians directly.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't much care for the Persians. They didn't hate them. They were just the people that charged them a lot of money for shit,
Mm-hmm.
And but it's really interesting that later on, they heard of Rome, and they did develop this. They did decide that because people's tended to assume that the world would be that the world was in some way symmetrical or something like that before.
They had already had yin and yang.
Yeah, right. Well, no, not quite yet, actually. but they were definitely like a big like Confucianism is very like about harmony and stuff like that and balance and stuff.
Symmetry.
Yeah. So they
and then all of a sudden they discover this opposite civilization.
Yeah, that's what they decided. Is the Romans were like the Western version of China, like the mirror image.
Yeah.
So they said Da Qin, which means like Great West China. And they related this to the Daiyuan. They knew they were related. So that what they deduced was that the Daiyuan, like, because the Chinese had that warring states period where their central government collapsed for a long time, and it was like.
I would like to know how interesting symmetry is, because things can parallel each other in very weird ways. So someone who looks like you, the symmetry is obvious, but also someone who is opposite to you is parallel to you in this weird way. Where if you're tall and I'm short, and you're X and I'm, B, or Y.
Then you can extrapolate like other things based off off each other.
Parallels connected in a lot of ways. That's interesting, isn't that?
Yeah, that's interesting.
It really is.
This is something for me that's like, I've done a lot of stuff with math, so I'm very familiar with opposites as being fundamentally similar to normal things. It's like, because that's how it is in math. It's like an opposite is just a reflection. It's just a...
That's interesting. People are closer than they are apart.
And then, so the Chinese decided... They really worked this into a whole thing, because the Chinese had just had this warring states period where their central government collapsed and they were very divided, and they decided that the Daiyuan people that they came into contact with, who they knew were divided into separate kingdoms, was the equivalent warring states period, and that the Da Qin was the next emperor, like the next great empire, the equivalent of the Han Empire in the East.
And the Da Qin is what they called the Romans.
Yeah, the Da Qin were what they called the Romans. Yeah, I do have to say that. You're right.
Idiot.
Huh.
So just say the Romans.
Yeah.
So they said what about the Romans?
That the Romans were the... So they equivocated the Greek... They knew the Greeks were related to the Romans, and they decided that the Greeks were something like the Warring States period in China, where they were split into multiple kingdoms.
Oh, gotcha.
And that the Romans were like the next empire in China.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
That is weird how these two civilizations... I mean, fuck. Like, Chinese letters compared to English letters, it's like aliens. And they must have thought the same thing about them. And it's like, they still... That's why the parallels are unbelievable. Because were they Confucianist, Taoist at this time, or what? And the Romans were just becoming Christian.
Yeah, they would have been Confucianist, Taoist. Yeah, you're right.
Unbelievable. Because the parallels between Confucianist Taoism and Christianity are a lot. And then you have these two cultures on opposite ends of the earth, both crush and be kind of similar in a lot of ways.
And Buddhism came in around the same time as Christianity.
Yeah. So that is interesting.
And
that is really, really interesting.
Yeah, and then
that just lets me know that it seems to be like these truths that you discovered by going weird places in your mind.
I believe that we believe that there is a perfect truth that exists and that we don't know it, but that we can approach it. I guess we probably put a stop to that. It's not lovely footage, is it? Buford.
What is he doing?
Lay down.
Ben, just do not.
Look it up.
What?
But the Chinese, so the Chinese have the Eastern civilizations have always been kind of similar to the Western civilizations in a certain way, which sometimes people will mistake them for opposites, but really they're pretty similar in some ways. They're both northern compared to the other two main civilizations, the Indic and Middle Eastern civilizations.
Okay.
So they both share these northern qualities of austerity and they both like chastity and sort of reservation and there's a lot of parallels because, and these kind of comes with being northern societies, so they've always kind of taken to each other whenever they interact.
Mm-hmm, the Romans and the Chinese.
I mean, not whenever they interact, but
the
like
Romans and the Chinese.
The Westerners and the Chinese,
Okay.
and the Easterners, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, I mean, Japan was the first society to adopt like Western style governments and stuff like that, and when the Chinese first discovered like Christianity, they really took to it for a while.
Yeah.
Until they went on a conservative bent, and that's kind of when it stopped.
Yeah.
But they really took to Christianity for a while.
Yeah.
Like it's weird. Like they took the cross and they worked it into like their like existing worship
water.
of the winds.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like they had a big thing about the cardinal directions are a really big deal in Confucian.
Yeah, that's
so they said that the cross, like they said, God dictated the cross would serve as the sign of the 4 cardinal directions.
Yeah, but it's also earth, wind, fire, and shit, isn't it?
No.
It is.
Sorry, they didn't do 4 elements. They did 5.
What was the 5th one? Ether.
Nope. They didn't have the same. The Japanese had that actually.
What was the 5th
one? But the Chinese had earth, wind, and no, they didn't have wind. They had earth, fire, and water. Those were the same. And then after that, they had wood and metal. It's a different thing.
That's weird.
Yeah, they didn't have the same 4-element structure, and the 4-element structure is very common. The Greeks figured it out. The Indians figured it out. The Japanese figured it out. The
Chinese didn't.
It's something. Yeah, they didn't. It's something a lot of civilizations like stumble upon. And why not? Because it's like that's the 4 states of matter, right?
No,
but
you're also definitely supposed to spend time with them. Like you should like get stoned and look at a river or a fireplace, or look at fucking moss on a hike.
Sure.
And what would you do for wind?
Climb a mountain.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
That stuff's important.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, I think I totally find the 4 elements interesting, and it's like, it's no wonder that we keep stumbling upon them. Like different civilizations stumble upon them because they're all like those are the 4 states of matter. So yeah, they're gonna stumble upon them, right?
No, and so
but
like,
they have. I find the spirits really interesting. Like the idea that fire and water are chaotic might, someday bear some relevance to the way we study liquids and plasmas.
Yeah. Well, we talked about that.
Yeah, we did talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah. What did we say?
Actually, we never actually talked about that. Yeah, we talked about that in person, not on the podcast.
Yeah, I know, but what did we say?
That's it. That's as far as we got with that.
Whatever. Well, I think it's interesting. I mean, obviously, like, the Native Americans were super into, like, the spirit of the water and the spirit of the air and stuff. But that's not lost on the West. Like, those pictures, what are they called?
Like alchemy and stuff?
No. What are they called? Let me check my phone. They're at the Sacred Heart Hospital.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Here, I've got it in my phone. Somewhere. Darn it. What is the name of it? I have to Google it.
Alright, but let's just...
The point is, like, Christians, especially like Orthodox stuff, they would it was like brother fire, sister moon, sister water, stuff like that. So those parallels are really cool.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know the name of it. You want to call?
I do want to call, yeah.
All right. Bye bye. Will you stop?
I don't think we're gonna be going that much longer,
Yeah. Put the mic on.
Yeah.
I'll check my notes.
I'd like to have some saltwater taffy if you're just gonna do that.
Sure.
I really like saltwater taffy. Fuck, that's a stupid line. We'll just cut that. 9:23. 9:23.
The most important thing is to not think you're on camera.